It started as a love story, but it became so much more than that. What if your soulmate isn't just your partner in life, but your mirror, your mentor, and your greatest catalyst for growth? In this episode of Unleashed and Empowered, I sit down with Jes Murphy, co-founder of Align and Connect, women's coach, and half a power couple transforming modern relationships. Jes shares her journey from single mum in survival mode to conscious co-creator, retreat facilitator, and a feminine force of nature. Together with her hubby Wes, she now supports individuals and couples in healing, reconnecting, and rewriting what love looks like in the new paradigm. We dive deep into emotional waves and intimacy, unlearning masculine override and allowing yourself to be held as a female, relationship patterns, sacred accountability, and divine timing, building a soulful business with your spouse without losing the spark. Whether you're calling in deep love, navigating challenges with your partner, or exploring what it means to truly surrender into your feminine power, this episode is your gentle permission slip and powerful reminder. You don't have to do it all alone, and love in its highest form will always lead you home. And I know I was supposed to publish this episode before I was going away to my wedding in Italy. Guess what? It just didn't happen. So here we go. A little bit late, but just as powerful. Welcome to Unleashed and Empowered, the podcast for visionaries and heart-led entrepreneurs who refuse to shrink or settle. I'm Alice Taugs, your host, guide, and fellow traveler in the messy but magical journey of entrepreneurship, blending spirituality, energy, intuition, and AI to amplify aligned business and personal power. Through raw conversations, both solo and with inspiring guests, we explore the moments that change everything, helping you trust yourself, redefine success, and create with courage and ease. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of Unleashed and Empowered. And today I am joined by one of my beautiful mastermind members. I know I have been on your case for I don't know how long to finally get you onto the show, and everything always happens in perfect and divine timing. So this is the divine timing. And welcome, Jes. You've got a business called Align and Connect, and we're going to go into the details who you share that business with a little bit later. So welcome.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you for having me. Yes, it has been a little while coming, but I'm so honoured to be here and I can't wait to dive into this beautiful conversation together and just share some of the gifts that we get to share with the world. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. So the way that I always get started is none of us entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, were born into the roles that we have today. We have all gone through awakening, sliding door moments, chaos within ourselves, within the world, to get to the place that we're at today. Would you like to share with us a little bit about your background and how did you get to starting your business?
Yeah, beautiful. Okay. I think what comes to mind, and it's quite relevant, I guess, really, is that, how I got to be where I am now is it's like a true love story, I think. Like when I think back to it, and it's quite funny because I have been thinking, like in the lead up to having this conversation with you, it was thinking about what is it that I do? Where did like there were so many different avenues of where I could draw upon my previous experience. But I guess where I am right now is because of, a beautiful love story of coming from I guess the what would you call it? Like maybe that, is it the sliding door moment or that rock bottom perhaps? Yeah. Is that pivotal moment in my life where I was the single mum with 2 kids teaching at a Catholic school where I felt like a complete failure. Everything around me had turned upside down. And in that moment, I guess there was, well, actually, there's a whole nother backstory to a whole nother podcast episode here. But the partner, like my beautiful husband and I now, that my beautiful husband Wes, we reconnected at a pivotal time where we were both energetically not at a great place.
Wow.
We were able to then support each other in doing the work for ourselves through the beautiful modalities of hypnotherapy and NLP. We dove into that head first, just got swept up and lost ourselves literally lost those old versions of self by doing the beautiful work that we did. And then were able to step into these new, I guess, the new truth of who we always were, but had just forgotten or got lost along the way, to now be able to support each other, hold each other accountable, continue this beautiful momentum of growth by now supporting others in their own journey of self-discovery, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's how I got here in
How
a
many
very,
years?
very dense way.
How many years has that been in the making?
So that was, 6 years now. And there was a little bit of, so the beginning of that journey was quite a turbulent place where we were both supporting each other in I guess, and again, we can go into some more detail. It's like a whole nother episode. Wes was coming out of a quite a significant battle with addiction. We were able to support each other in the ways that we both needed to then come through that. So that was 6 years ago. And even just thinking about this now, it's like within that 6-year period, I guess there's just so much that can be celebrated in the versions of us that are here now from those past versions of self that were, quite self-destructive, I guess, like living in those old cycles, those old patterns, those old limiting beliefs that were so well ingrained but completely unconscious that we weren't even realizing that they were dictating our every move, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even just reflecting on it, it's so beautiful to have these conversations and I think reflect on the journey and really take a moment to celebrate it. And I guess that's why it's so beautiful that, like I mentioned before, the gifts that we get to share now is we get to show people what is possible. And I giggle because I know we've had conversations about that before, Alice. So I love that. So sorry. I hope did that. I get there's so many tangents we can go down.
Absolutely. And when you think of it, what always baffles me is 6 years on one hand seems such a long time, but on the other hand, it also appears to be such a short time frame as well. And then it also feels like it was even a different life ago. Like you can't even comprehend or remember or really understand sometimes what was going on during those times that that you have found yourself in that place. And I always say that meeting your soulmate is one of the most beautiful things on the planet, but also one of the most revealing things where that mirror really does get held up and it shows you this is who you could be. And, it highlights all those parts of us that perhaps we haven't had an opportunity to look at. We haven't had an opportunity to shine some light at it. So how did you navigate some of those turbulent and difficult times in supporting each other?
Beautiful question. I think very early on, I was in a place, and even when I think now, one of the first things that we did during the process of doing all our hypnotherapy and NLP studies is we got our human design readings done and we had a comparison done very, very early on. And that supported us so much in those early stages of understanding ourselves in a way or understanding ourselves and each other even more deeply than we could have ever realized, I think. Early on, prior to any of the work that we sort of started doing, there was a lot of projection, a lot of, your issues are the issues in the relationship. I'm here to fix and support and guide and do all the things. When the moment we realized, and I think this is one of the most powerful parts about it, is that Wes and I both saw the beauty in each other and allowed each other to see that beauty within ourselves. So for the first time in my life, I actually felt like, oh, wow, he really loves me for me. He loves me for my good, my bad, my ugly. He loves me for my all. Like I could never be too much for this man, which I had been told many a times throughout my early childhood, or, all those unconscious stories that are implanted, the evidence that we search for to validate those stories. But but there was also this innate belief that I had when I looked at Wes. It was like exactly what you said, that mirror. We were simply just holding that mirror of unconditional love and belief for each other, to allow each other to then step into that. And that's not to say it was all sunshine and rainbows. It was incredibly challenging getting to that point. And I think one of the biggest pieces was just taking that step back and realizing that the only one that I could be accountable for was myself.
Yeah.
So holding myself accountable for the way that I was showing up, for the way that I was thinking, the emotions that I was feeling, the words I was speaking, all the actions. It was just, no one can make me feel anything. I choose how I feel, how I respond, how I act in those moments. So there was a lot in those early stages that we were both projecting back and forth. But then once we realized, I guess there was, when I said, the human design components to it, there was just so much clarity that came with understanding each other, just in making decisions and understanding the energetics and how we hold or mirror or match each other's energies in ways that may be helpful, may not be. So that was something that was really helpful really early on in the piece.
Yeah, wow. And you just said something about decision making. So obviously, I've got both your charts open here on my second screen that I can reference and have a look at it, because I was going to dive into that a little bit with you today. So obviously, Wes is an empath, and perhaps some of his earlier life experiences were too much as an empath, and there comes that muting or that more destructive behavior because of you just don't want to feel that deeply that you have been designed to feel. How did you navigate that? Because you're an emotional being, so you have your emotional waves. Did Wes pick up on your emotional waves and picked up on what goes on in your body before you even realized that?
Oh, Alice, I love it. Even this is why I love having these conversations, because we forget, and so it's so nice to revisit and remember. So very early on in the piece, like my energy, like I would come home or wherever, I'd be somewhere, and Wes would be like, "Hey, what's wrong? What's happening? Like, what?" And I'd be like, "I'm fine." He's like, "Maybe you're not." And then he'd prompt, like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And I'd end up getting quite frustrated, going, "Well, I'm fine. I actually don't even know yet. Can you just give me some space?" So he would pick up that there was something not quite right, just energetically from me. I didn't yet have the clarity or the words or the knowing to even articulate what was wrong. Within that next 12, 24-hour period, something would happen and it would all drop in, and I'd go, oh my God, okay, so I'm actually feeling quite unsettled because of this scenario that triggered that emotion. Now it's clear to me that makes sense. So Wes was able to read that energy, pick that up on me before I even knew. And we really quickly learnt that this was actually a pattern within our relationship. And it was a beautiful indication for me. Like, he knew that I didn't know just yet, and that was okay. But he would then be able to give me the time. But I would then also know, oh, wow, actually, what is happening for me right now? Why am I feeling a little bit off? Or why is it not sitting quite right now? And there, without too many, I guess, triggers happening there early in the piece, we were able to support each other in just, working those things out within each other and supporting each other in the ways that we needed.
Yeah, because I had the exact same experience with Stephen. As you know, Stephen is a massive empath, and like, he would even feel stuff when I'm overseas. He would ring up and say, "What's going on?" Or he would feel if mum sent me a text message and he could be on the way driving home. He's like, "Did you get a text message from your mum? Your energy has just plummeted into the basement." I'm like, "Yeah, you felt it again, didn't you?" So on one hand, it's really beautiful that you have a partner who can be so aware and who can then hold the space. But as you say in the beginning, it's so partially unsettling, because you're trying to figure out what goes on in your own body. You're trying to find a language to even articulate some of that stuff, because that was the first time for me as well, where somebody had picked up on my emotional wave. And, the first
Mm,
couple of weeks, he was like, "What's going on? What's off?" Until it just dropped in as a insight. It was like, "Ah, it's my
mm,
emotional wave." And every time, I'm peaking and then I'm starting to go down, he literally picks up on all of that. And
yeah,
then through human design, I was able to articulate to him and say, "Hey, hun, what we're actually experiencing is you're tuning into my energy, and
yeah.
this is what's going on." So, from a relationship point of view and from an awareness point of view, what a beautiful gift. Um, Obviously, this can turn into an absolute superpower when you're coaching.
Yes. Yep,
Because
yep.
we as emotional beings, we can hold the space without necessarily feeling the intensity of the emotions of the person that we're coaching coming up. But when you coach as a couple, which is what you
Mm,
do, you can really kind of help each other see aspects from a very different angle if you have an empath in the room who can start sensing the shift, whether
yeah,
something was said, whether something got triggered, whether something was experienced, where you can then really pinpoint and you can really kind of go into what happened then and there. Talk to me
yeah,
a little bit about
absolutely.
that dynamic.
Yeah, no, it's been really beautiful to, yeah, even just as you explained that so well, to really just witness that unfold when we are in a group coaching session with the couples that we work with. And like you said, as the empath does have such a beautiful innate intuition that he reads things perhaps that I may miss. So energetically, he'll pick up on when perhaps, one of the partners needs to express a little bit more or go a little bit deeper or hold that space and prompt, or to pull back perhaps if he can see that things are just in a way needing to be navigated to support both parties in the ways that I guess are working towards that optimal solution in the way that feels
Mm,
best for them. We are able, what I love, I guess, is that we get to um, see things, hear things, feel things in like a holistic like approach in that I'm picking up things that perhaps, or my attention to detail, I will be, picking up things that perhaps Wes will miss, but then energetically he'll be picking up things that I may have overseen or things like that.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it really does create a really, I guess, a really thorough experience that, and even just, energetically having that masculine, feminine, like the male, female, but having just such a beautiful, energetic there to hold that space. Both parties, there's no way for either party not to feel seen
Mm,
or heard or
mm,
valued. So it's been a really beautiful process to be able to offer that in the ways that we do.
yeah. Now, I know this wasn't on the script of us going into the topics that we're going into. I'm going to go
I love
into
it.
it anyways. So, one of the things that we're obviously in right now is that bridge from the three-dimensional world into the fifth dimensional world, and supporting people and couples in sort of that new way of being together. And you and I, we both had conversation about the fact that we have both been in our masculine so much in our previous
Mm,
relationships, because that's just what was required. That was what was modeled, and we didn't really know any better.
mm,
And then on the other hand, we both have men on our side or by our side, who have not been allowed to be the men that they truly
mm.
are in their most beautiful being. Share with us a little bit about that unfolding of your feminine starting to emerge and come in, and now getting to a point where it's really starting to blossom in the most beautiful way, and for your beautiful
Um,
husband on what that journey has been, and holding that space for you as well, and for his own emerging.
yeah, huge, huge. And I think, um, yeah, it's such a powerful topic, I think, at the moment because just within society, we live in this, like you said, the world that, with the constraints that women are expected or have, I guess there's a lot of push or force for them to be in those masculine roles. And I
Mm,
think when, when I think back those 6 years earlier, those 6 years prior, I would have been very much dominantly in that masculine, the organizer, the provider, the single mum, doing all the things. So to be able to step into a space, and I guess this is why I love now, even as I think about this, that one of so my title on Instagram is connection coach,
Yeah.
because my journey has been my connection back to self, and a massive part of that has been connecting back into that true divine feminine that I was so significantly detached from for, I would say, the best part of those 35 years. So to be able to now so consciously create the space for myself to step into that feminine, by even just to be consciously creating the awareness for when it is that perhaps I am falling back into old habits of the masculine, by allowing myself to be held. I think that is one of the biggest challenges in not only my own journey, but with so many women I work with, is their own inability to allow themselves to be held in their feminine. Maybe because it's been so far removed from their conscious awareness, that it's something that is creating that conscious awareness to be able to allow, to feel safe, I am safe to be held. I am supported in this. I can slow down, I can surrender, I can soften, to actually know that there is safety beneath all of that. I think that possibly is something that is one of the most common threads that comes through within women that I work with, and 100% my own journey as well, is identifying that root cause belief that they're perhaps at the core of it all, that I'm not safe to do any of those things. I'm not safe to soften, to surrender, to slow down, to go with the flow, to allow myself to be held. The moment we realize that and allow ourselves to even just get curious with it, it doesn't mean that, we have to do this complete 180 and step back from doing all the things, or, it's simply creating that space to be curious with what that looks like for you, to then allow, I guess, that beautiful dance or that balance in how that then looks for you, gifting that opportunity for the partner, for the man, to then step into his masculine. Because for so many, if we're, the energetics of that, if the women are so fiercely in their masculine, which I was for so long, it's like just, butting heads constantly, this masculine energy butting heads, trying to find their way. The moment you soften, the moment you allow yourself, even just getting curious with it, allowing the man then to have that space to step into his masculine, everything just starts to shift. And it doesn't mean that we get it right every time. Do I get it right every time? No, we're still constantly, daily navigating our way through this beautiful journey of life. But it's about creating the conscious awareness to what perhaps has felt out of alignment, to then bring back those practices to what is it that supports me most in feeling safe to be supported, in feeling safe or what am I doing that perhaps unconsciously is still blocking that, or where is the work that I can allow myself to feel held, and allow the partner to step into his masculine, to be able to hold in the way that they can.
Yeah. Do you think there was a level of worthiness within that as well? Whether you feel worthy of the holding, the safety, the love, the receiving, the nurturing?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think even when we think 6 years prior, my the start of our journey was, there was the unconscious belief of being completely unworthy of being loved, being unworthy of being supported or held. I was living in constant proving mode, that I could prove my independence. I could prove my worth as a woman by working hard and supporting myself and my kids and doing all the things. But that was proving my worth because it was so lacking. if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to that, you and I have a very parallel style, I guess, experience. Just mine came without the kids, yours came with the kids. So, uh, thank you so much for diving a little bit into that and giving us a little bit of a taste on what that did to your relationship and what that felt like for
Mm,
Wes as well, because it obviously forms a large part of lived experience that you
yeah.
can now gift to other people who are at a point in their life where they need to figure out what the next steps are in their relationship. And that is whether to fight for it, whether to acknowledge
Mm,
that perhaps, you know, what is it called? A season, a reason, or a lifetime. Like everything comes in cycles, and I truly believe that not every relationship that we enter
yeah.
is meant to last in a lifetime. I really truly believe that we all get lessons and people and experiences that will help us then to hopefully break open, not even break open, to rediscover the person that we actually truly are on the inside that so deeply
Mm,
is longing to come out. So thank you so much
yeah,
for sharing that
absolutely.
with us.
You're
Why
so
don't
welcome.
you talk a little bit about the work that you do with couples?
Um, Beautiful. So we have online, so on our website, we have a package that we have offered. And I guess the biggest piece that makes the difference is the accountability that Wes and I hold for the couples to do what they need to do. So, um, and again, it comes from our own lived experience of perhaps what we needed most in those most turbulent times, and
Mm,
having a rock solid support, guide, facilitator, hold that space, call those involved accountable for their actions, for their words, really allowing the individual to, I guess, take ownership for their life. And like you said, knowing that um perhaps not every relationship is meant to last, but what is the lessons here in what it is that's working for you? What, where is it that perhaps things are in alignment, where are they not?
mm,
Regardless of what the journey is, it's about, and I guess this is where we come back to Wes and I doing the work together, but essentially you're always doing the work individually.
mm,
So we have a group session together initially where we allow both couple or both parties to really speak openly, honestly, vulnerably from the heart. So they just get to have a space where they just share whatever's needed to be shared in a way perhaps they haven't had a voice, they haven't felt heard or seen quite often within relationships. We've worked with some couples that have been in relationship for 24 years. And over that time, if the patterns are not being heard, seen, validated, the resentment builds,
mm,
the emotions that are there being suppressed, still not dealt with, it just creates that, I guess, uncertainty within themselves, the turbulence in the relationship. So we start with a group session together where both parties really feel heard, seen, and validated in the ways that they need. But then the work is actually doing the work as individuals.
mm,
Because, like I mentioned right at the start of our journey, my projection of what I thought my issues in our relationship were, I was putting them all onto, it was Wes's addiction that was the issue. It was Wes's inability to show up. It was all these things that I was projecting outwards as if that was
mm,
the issue with the relationship. When I was able to take ownership of what it was for me and how I wanted to feel in the relationship, how I could then communicate those needs, how I needed to, how I could express myself in a healthy manner. I found out very quickly that I was a really great talker, but I wasn't a great communicator.
wow.
So, really clearly understanding with the work that we do with individuals or with the couples, the power comes from doing the work as
Mm,
individuals and taking that, the blame, the projection, all of those elements out of once you take that out of the relationship and you know that the only person you can hold accountable is yourself in the ways that you need to, everything changes. the way you look at yourself, the way you look at your partner, the way you look at your relationship, everything changes in a way that you then get to make those decisions, whether perhaps the relationship has played its course. And,
Yeah.
maybe this is something that now I can be that best version of myself. And perhaps within this relationship, we weren't the best for each other. And we've uncovered parts of ourselves that perhaps we wouldn't have if we hadn't have been in that relationship. We've
Mm.
actually supported a number of relationships in having a really healthy path forward in their separate ways, and knowing that they are then going to be able to create their new relationships without the same cycles, without the same patterns, without those same core unmet needs that are, if they're not identified in one relationship, it's only going to carry out in another. How many times do you see that in relationships? The same cycles, the same pattern, that friend that continually has those same, calls in those same men every time, the same. There's these, because that one or not one, but there's those unmet needs, or the wounds
Yeah.
that haven't been fully healed or identified. Those patterns are only going to continue to move forward.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, yeah. So then getting back on track, sorry, I get so distracted by being so passionate about what we do. So the group sessions at the start, the individual work that we do within those two group sessions, and then another group session towards the end with some beautiful strategies and frameworks that we guide the couples through to perhaps have some really deep, connective conversations that they may have never had before, or never
Mm.
had the opportunity before. So yeah, that's been really powerful to support that.
Beautiful. And then I think, well, I don't think, I know you also host retreats.
Yes, yes. Oh my God. Um, so we both have held now some men's and women's retreats. So Wes hosts some men's retreats here at the property. So that's like men outdoors, roughing it, camping under the stars, swagging it. Like they just, where we are here on our property is just, yeah, it's like it was made for it, which it is really. Um, so he holds that space for men in a beautiful way, that just allows men to feel safe, connected, to be able to just come connect with other men, but also just open up and dive into parts of themselves that they perhaps haven't acknowledged or haven't seen or didn't even know were missing. So
Mm.
it's been a really beautiful, intentional space that Wes has created. And then I've held some beautiful women's connection retreats down in the Inman Valley as well, and they've just been um, so wholesome, so nurturing. Yeah, it was a really beautiful, I guess, knowing of the path. I think I mentioned before, my previous role as a teacher, I used to call in sick days when
Mm.
I knew that I had to speak at staff meeting, because I would be so anxious and terrified at having to speak in front of a group of adults. Whereas now I can host a full weekend women's retreat with every single moment and minute and the entire weekend just holding that space for those beautiful women that choose to be there, knowing that everything that they're receiving is exactly what they're there to receive, and it is just the most beautiful confirmation of the work that we're doing. And I think the retreats that I've attended myself, that I've supported at now, I've been able to just bring together a beautiful toolkit of strategies and modalities and just practices that are just so wholesome and beautiful. So just
Oh,
I just feel really honored to be able to be in this space and be able to offer these gifts to the women who choose to, or the women and men who choose to be here. So
oh, so beautiful. Um, we all go through this. Anyone who had a different identity at some stage in their life and then changes the complete course and direction of their life to finally do what the heart is longing for.
Mm,
We all have to deal with imposter syndrome. We all have to deal with the fact that, this whole change of suddenly showing up as a coach or suddenly showing up as somebody
mm.
who's holding space, who talks energies, who talks astrology and human design and all these weird and wonderful things. How did you navigate that path for yourself in stepping into the knowing that you came here to do this work and that you're
Mm,
actually okay with that as well and that you're
yeah.
ready to really claim that?
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful question. I think, a large part of that has definitely been doing the work alongside Wes. So Wes and I diving into our own healing together, and then continually supporting each other and seeing the beauty, the brilliance in each other. Um, and I guess, like we talked about, that mirror just continually um, encouraging each other to be that best version of
Mm.
self. Um, there definitely were times earlier on, and again with my human design, my 5-1 profile, it was like, oh, well, if I just do this one more course, or if I just do one more study, or if, like I get one more little certificate on my wall, or whatever that would be, it was like that was then validating me to be, oh, now I can do it. I think what comes to mind now is just taking those bold leaps of faith
Mm.
by trusting my intuition. And even when I say that out loud, trusting my intuition, 6 years ago, I didn't even know what that meant for me.
Yeah.
So when someone said trusting my intuition, it was like my intuition was so detached or so disconnected from myself and being able to connect to it, that now it was like strengthening that, I guess, that trust muscle within myself to be able to make decisions that felt in alignment for me. And even just doing all the little tools like listening to my human design reading, reaching out to people that felt in alignment, that, getting information in the ways that felt good. Um, and then just taking those bold risks. I mean, we did a lot of work early on in letting go of some of those limiting
Mm.
beliefs, the fear of judgment. And I think even just sharing and talking about it, like having beautiful conversations like this, sharing these aspects of our journey, with and having these beautiful conversations then allows, it's almost like, you're bringing those old stories to the light to allow them to dissolve.
Mm.
Once you're sharing them and knowing that it's actually not truth, that, people, perhaps if there are people out there judging, like that's a beautiful invitation for them to do the work of what it is that's activated in them. And knowing really early on in the piece, I think, is knowing how important it was for me, to do to reach out to those people that were inspiring me, and then kind of knowing that ripple effect. Who was I then able to inspire or,
Yeah.
connect to, and so then that flow on effect of whose life or whose trajectory might I support in changing for the better, in reconnecting to that part of themselves that they never knew wasn't even, missing.
Mm.
Yeah, sort of guide, I guess, living by that kind of guidance was really powerful as well. But yeah, not to say that that imposter syndrome wasn't there and has probably held it's, yeah, beautiful confirmation, I think, like holds you back, but then at the same time pushes you forward when it
Mm.
needs to.
Yeah, yeah. And like with any business owner, it's imposter syndrome, it's the money stories, it's the money making, the allowing to receive money, it's allowing to step
Yes.
up to that next level that we all obviously, well, not everyone, but that we aspire to. And yeah, so the one line, I hear you. I'm a 1-3, as you know, manifesting generator. And for me, it was always, oh, I just need to do the next course and then I will feel
Yes.
confident and then I will have
Yes.
the qualification and then
Yep.
people are going to think that I will be worthy or that I'm equipped or whatever the labels are, that I can actually do this work. But I think that's really just, when the head starts getting a bit busy and when we're sort of detaching from our heart mission and from what it is that we're truly passionate about. So, yeah,
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I even just then thinking there was like so many times where you know, things perhaps could have been perceived as a failure, but shifting that perspective of knowing that nowhere along the journey has any of this been a failure or even a setback. It's all part of the growth, it's all
Mm.
part of the journey. Even in the moments where it's felt uncomfortable or, you sort of questioning, what am I even doing here? Or it's like, knowing, and again I come back to that vision of me having that vision of belief in the version of Wes and who he is now. It was just like this innate knowing and belief of what, the power of what this work is and how we get to support, anyone who is called to reach out or connect or get curious about what this could look like for them. I know how powerful it's been for me, and so coming back to that place of trust and knowing in what it is that we do, because we are the living, breathing embodiment of what we do, because we've lived it. We've done all the work in our own journey, and we're still doing the work, like it's a
Yes.
never ending, never always evolving journey. So it's like just knowing that, like, the power and how potent this is for ourselves, like, how can we not share this with the world and those that are called to jump on as well?
And what a beautiful gift for your children to witness that as well, that transformation, that change, that stepping into your power, because then
Yeah.
just by role modeling that, you're obviously allowing that next generation to explore and get curious around what that looks like for them. Because as we all know,
Mm.
we all come with our own little soul journeys imprinted. We all choose them before we even incarnate on what lessons are we here that we would like to learn and experience in this lifetime. And then it's the open invitation to say, are we going to, hear the call? Are we not going to hear the call this lifetime? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, really powerful.
Share with me the good, bad, and the ugly about working with your husband.
It's so fun. Um,
Because as a
there
relationship coach, I mean, sometimes you probably be like, which version of me would you like today? Would you like the relationship coach? Would you like the business owner? Would you like the wife? Or would you like any other version in between?
Yes, there definitely have been some boundaries in, what's the term been that's thrown around a couple that, don't go all coach mode on me when we're having. But the beautiful part of it is, I think, like I mentioned before, is it is holding each other accountable. So
Mm,
when we see that pattern of behavior, or, and again, um, we are a real couple navigating the realities of life. The challenges of finance, of owning a home, of a blended family. Like,
mm,
we are doing it all and running a business together. It's like knowing that we're every moment that we have to support ourselves and each other. It's like there has been a few moments where it's like, oh, this is going to be beautiful content to really dive into, to know how to support others when we're navigating these challenges. And we have been through some significant challenges, just earlier in this year and things like that as well. But again, like I said, that holding each other accountable, we know when things get hard, but yeah, life is hard and that's okay. How can we support ourselves to
mm.
support each other best? And I guess that's probably, the most important piece, because it's so easy to get swept up. Like when when challenges arise and we convert back into the old emotional state, having that acceptance, that compassion, that love for each other in those moments, seeing it for what it is, and then supporting each other in the ways that we need. Um, I think we've talked a lot, obviously, being in the mastermind, that I guess Wes and I, in business there's like 3 components to our business. There's myself and my women's support, there's Wes and the men's work, and then there's the couples work as well. So I guess that's been something that's been a real, I guess the beauty in navigating that and being able to then find the time and the energy. Obviously, me as a manifesting generator, I've got all the time for all the things and all the energy for all the things when it lights me up. And a lot of the time, things light me up. So it's then finding and navigating, I guess, the separating the professional business life from family life, from our love life, from our social life. That's probably been good, bad, ugly. I don't know where it fits in all of that. That would probably be one of the most complex
Depends
parts.
on the
Is just
day. Yes.
finding the appropriate space where I coming in hot and I've got all these ideas and I'm wanting to chat, whereas Wes just, it's not the right time for him. So I guess just for us, it's about just finding that balance, which, when we're supporting other couples and other individuals navigate their way through life, it's like that's a part of it for anybody, regardless of what situation they're in.
That's the tango.
Yes.
I was just about to ask you for some advice on that area because obviously, Stephen and I, we're both incredibly passionate business owners. And Stephen's got 4 or 5, whatever businesses there are. I've got a business. And for us, in the beginning, there was the question whether shall I be working part-time in his business to kind of support the growth within that, because I'm really good at what I do. I love marketing. I love strategy. I could very easily slot into Pisani Group and help them out with that. But then the question is, where do you actually leave the space and the time for love, for sensuality, for rejuvenation? Because conversations very quickly started in the bedroom. And then it was like, well, do we want to keep that as a sacred bubble? And then I was like, no business in the bedroom. But then I'm the first one in the morning to have a cup of coffee, open up the curtains because I have my beautiful ocean view. Plus, it's also my wealth corner in my house. From a feng shui point of view. So I'm then the first person that drags the laptop into the bedroom and starts doing, my next email sequence and whatever. So how do you navigate that when you have 2 people that just sincerely love what they do, that have such full, busy, blended lives, and you just want to carve out space for yourself, first of all, because, at the end of the day, I need to fill my cup as well. And then also for each other, where you have that sacred, beautiful connection time.
We definitely have a no business rule in the bedroom. We actually have a no hard conversations rule in bed, because quite often that's where, when, you're laying down, you're having the conversations come up or the emotions start to come up and things. So we put that in place really early on, which has been really supportive. But then actually creating, like, holding those boundaries, having the conversation to block out that time for when it is going to work and holding each other accountable for that. Wes and I are also living up in sort of McLaren Vale region. We will often treat ourselves to a business lunch where we get to go somewhere new and because we definitely haven't taken advantage of the location of where we're living enough, but carving out that time as business time. So you're away from the house, you're away from the home with all the responsibilities, the jobs and all the things that, you get easily distracted by, and making it fun. So bringing back that playfulness in, how can we make this something that we actually look forward to, and locking it in, blocking it out, sending in. I actually Wes and I both now will send each other the invite on our Google Calendar and block that out. So so it's, which is quite foreign to both of us previously. It was like we didn't even use Google Calendar, and now we're like blocking out business meetings with each other in making sure that is that time that we can make productive and plan our way forward and do the things that we need to do. So, but even as I expressed that then, it was like bringing back that playfulness of it, making it sure that it is fun and something that you look forward to, because I think it's so easy to get bogged down with the seriousness of life and the stress and the challenge and all the things that are happening. There's always so much you can do, but where can you find the fun and the joy and the playfulness in what it is, and inviting that in.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately for our travel budget, I figured out that taking Stephen to a location that doesn't have internet is the best strategy for our private and personal life. We both love travel. We both love eating, as everyone has witnessed on the expansion of my hips over the last 3 years. Yeah, so for us, it really is around going somewhere where the phone basically just doesn't get
Yes.
reception because unfortunately, Stephen had his business for 25 years. The majority
Mm,
of people are from his community. They're from a small country town, and they will also message him on Messenger if that's the way that they have to get in touch with him. And so for
communicated.
him, it really
Yeah.
is, if we're going to be going somewhere, no reception. And that's the time where we have an opportunity to really connect at a deeper level. Um,
Yeah.
we're both very ambitious people, so we want to also map out what the next 12 to 18 months look like.
Mm,
Because obviously we're in the middle of wedding planning. As you know, in a week we're taking off to Italy, and once all of that planning and all that time that got taken up by wedding planning is gone, we're like,
mm,
what's next? What goal can we
yeah.
work on that's next?
Oh,
What's
I love
juicy?
that.
What's exciting? And yeah, we've
Mm,
actually decided that as soon as we're back, we're going to be booking ourselves into a retreat, and we will
mm,
be going away for a couple of days, wholesome food, yoga, some sound baths,
beautiful.
things like that,
Yes.
and we'll be thinking about what is next that we both want to work towards
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
our businesses, individually, as a couple. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it's so important. And I think that's even just as you say that, that's something that comes up so frequently within the couples that we work with, especially those with young kids or they're deep into their career or whatever it might be, having the conversations around whether their relationship values are even aligned or even if they're on similar paths, and then what are the goals or the vision forward, like are they even on the same journey, trajectory, vision looking forward, because if not, it creates this challenge of I guess that knowing or the conversation or the communication of what are we even doing moving forward, if that makes sense. So there's it's beautiful to hear that obviously you and Stephen both being such ambitious um, beautiful people, that there's a lot of similarities there in knowing like that path that you're on and how you can then maximize that together, simply by creating that space to create
yeah,
that vision moving
yeah.
forward.
And that was the thing that we connected on very early
Mm,
on because both of us didn't have that in our previous relationship to the extent that we
yeah.
have it now. Like we talk to some people about some of the things that we're working on, and they're like, "Holy moly, that just makes me like freak out just by listening to the amount of stuff that you two have going on, that the big plans that you have, and what's so wonderful as well, or scary or frightening or exciting, whichever way you look at it, is
All of the above.
all of the above. A lot of spiritually attuned people that meet us, they're like, oh wow, you two are here to fulfill a big mission. Watch out what's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I don't even know what that looks like. I don't know, if our paths completely change again over the next couple of years. That's sort of the beauty and the gift that we all don't really know about, to know where this beautiful life is taking us. But
Yeah, it's
when we first
exciting.
met, Stephen sort of gave me a download on what his dream life was because I ran this retreat. I shared with him human design. We found out he was a projector, and he just had all these light bulb moments, and he's like, you need to take me through this thing, whatever this human design is. I need
Mm.
to find out more about it because it really resonates with me. And so we then had breakfast up in Woodside one day, And he gave me his download because obviously when you work with someone as a business owner, it's the same as in relationships. You have to work on the individual because the individual runs the business. It's the individual that's in the relationship.
Mm.
It's the individual that runs the business. Everything always starts with the individual.
Mm.
And so he gave me a download on all his dreams and his ambitions and, everything. And I was thinking to myself, that's my stuff. That's all the stuff that I'm dreaming about, the impact that I want to make, the travel, the
Mm.
having dinner in Tuscany in front of a villa with my king. At that stage, I was like, I'm really calling in my king. And then suddenly there was my king. And yeah, it was just such a beautiful way to meet, but it was also, I don't know, like nervous system regulation and worthiness and
Mm.
allowing and everything that we've sort of been talking about separate during this podcast. We have literally experienced it all. Beautiful. Hannah and Georgia obviously came with Stephen as well. They're his two beautiful daughters and navigating what that looked like. I
Mm.
never chose to have children. Early on, I always said I'm going to have two girls, but then I also said I'm not going to have children. So it's
Wow.
actually really interesting how
Oh,
it all
so
ended up
beautiful.
panning out. But yeah, I think like the whole soulmate relationships or relationships later on in life have such a big opportunity to become so incredibly life changing that
Mm.
we sometimes don't even understand the gravity of it.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So powerful.
Yeah, you would have both experienced that for yourselves as well, because I know the plans and the dreams that you have for your beautiful property, like what you're working towards now as a couple. I mean, again, looking at that back 6 years ago, you probably wouldn't have
Yeah.
dreamt of having some of those ambitions as an individual, let alone as a couple.
Yeah, it's super interesting. There was a pivotal point throughout the journey where I realized that I was completely blocking myself from receiving any of
Mhm.
the gifts of what we now have. So energetically, I think I mentioned earlier that I was in such a fierce masculine proving mode that I wanted to prove my independence, my worth, I can do it all, I can do it on my own. And so really allowing ourselves to step into that space of just being open to the opportunities and just being open. Like when we first got together, we had this incredibly ridiculously fast motorbike that we used to ride through the Adelaide Hills, and he would fantasize about this property in the hills, and I used to just laugh and think, are you kidding me? Like, property in the hills, like, how are we ever going to do that? And so then we just started um like getting playful with it. We would go to open inspections and we would just start planting the seed and manifesting this beautiful property that literally is what we had envisioned, this property with glass, timber and stone, and we now live in this beautiful rammed earth property with wood floorboards and beautiful windows overlooking the hills down towards um the sort of towards Victor Harbour Way. And when the intention for the property, it was just this incredible healing space.
Mm.
So knowing that it wasn't just it wasn't a home. It was it's yeah, the potential of what this has for where and the exciting part, I think now, again, a little bit with my human design, the impatience for me to want to get things happening, like all, just come in all guns blazing. And now being here 2 years or a bit over 2 years and just sitting in the energetics, the beauty of what we're already creating, trusting the divine timing of it, knowing that Wes is already creating such a beautiful space for men to reconnect to themselves, to reconnect with the land, to heal the parts that they perhaps haven't been able to heal. There's we again, with the alignment of our views, I have beautiful big visions of what could come from
Mm.
the property that we have, and perhaps a retreat space and some beautiful intentionally purpose built uh, buildings for what could be a beautiful healing space. And so it's exciting, but again, it's just trusting divine timing of it all and just being patient with
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly how it's meant to.
Wow. That just sparked straight download again from, also Friday from our beautiful mastermind. What was really interesting, after I obviously discovered this wealth prompt activation,
Yes.
expanded prompt, so to say, so that people understand what we're talking about. And I chucked that into Sassy, into the bot that I've built, that draws on human design, astrology, and gene keys. I got curious because I was like, why has Sassy not completely taken off yet? Because again, impatience. I want to help the world. I've got a big goal of wanting to reach 1,000 business owners by, at the end of FY26. And rudely, my astrology revealed that it's not the right time just now. The time
Mm,
is going to come in November. And so it's all about
mm,
nurturing and taking care of other things right now so that when the timing is right and when it's
yeah,
supported by the planets
yeah.
going into certain positions in accordance to my chart, and I'm no astrology genius, then things are going to radically shift, radically change. And
Mm,
the funny thing with divine timing is every time I, get impatient and I chuck a tantrum and I surrender, and then suddenly it's like, and now here we go. I'm just going to hand
mm,
this to you on a silver platter. Now that you're not so much in a rush anymore, it's all going to be fine. And I will tell you, as a prediction, we're going to look back at this in a couple of weeks' time. Now that I've decided to shut my business down for 5 weeks to enjoy this upcoming holiday, things are probably going to get into motion very
mm,
differently than if I would have pre-scheduled all these ads
yeah.
and, would have tried to push things out just because, every entrepreneur always says, go on a holiday and then set up your business in a way that it still
Mm,
makes an income. Like that's everyone's dream. But the
mm,
universe made it very clear. My ads wouldn't schedule. I tried to set them up 4 times. It was like, nope, we're blocking you. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And now
mm,
I'm like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy 5 weeks off.
exactly. The universe has spoken.
Yeah, so I would be really curious to see if you put the wealth prompt back in and you asked us. I'm going to give you a little bit of an expander again around the very big, massive change that is just about to be on the horizon. September 14, it's going to start with the
Mm,
first big energetic window. Well, we're actually in the first big energetic window now. The next one is then going to come next year, and then there is a follow-up the year after. But
mm,
there's Neptune, Uranus, and a third planet that are doing something funky. And again, if you just put that prompt into Sassy,
mm,
see what it says with the prediction for the retreat space, because it could actually be
yeah.
written in the stars. And then if you overlay that with Wes's timing, who
Oh
knows
my
what's
God.
going to come out of that?
Oh my God. Stop
Who's going
it.
to say to you, get off that chatbot? I'm getting jealous here. That needs to be a new boundary.
Oh,
Only an hour or two a day with Sassy.
yes, some really clear time limits on that. Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. And yeah. So I love the intentional, aligned guidance that it gives, in the sense that it has all of the details there, all of my human design details there, to know, when I know my history and my understanding of how much, like I've talked about this whole episode, that human design has literally changed how I see myself, how I see my partner, how it's supported our relationship. So now, to be involved in the space that we are with you, with the mastermind, to be able to then apply that to business has just been phenomenal. Like, I can't even put it into words, and it even just excites me now. I want to jump off and get straight into that chat, like into that prompt of the retreat space. But knowing how it supports with the feedback that you're receiving from complete alignment with who you are and who you're showing up as, and how you're truly aligned to
Mm.
live life moving forward. So it's just, yeah,
And I
Amazing.
know that there is some people that are using Sassy the bot for some really, really, really cool shit. And I can't wait to start shouting it from the rooftops and say, that's where Sassy was involved. That's where Sassy was involved. And it just lights me
Yeah.
up because the like I love human design. I love human design in business, but being able to synthesize it in a way where it becomes this deep reflective mirror for every single task that you
Yeah.
ask it to do, that is just magnificent in a way. Like like we even had it go into almost like a deeper reflection into, I don't want to call it channel mode, but that's kind of what the resonance feel like, because
Mm.
sometimes you sit there and you get feedback and you just feel it at this cellular level.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
stuff where it's like, well, how do you put that into a case study? How do you put that into sharing that experience with the outside world so they get a glimpse
Mm.
of what it's like to have a bot that has been pre-programmed in a way that it can really become your most powerful business sidekick
Yeah, yeah.
and your
Absolutely.
most
Yeah.
aligned one as well.
Yeah, it is truly magnificent, and I think even just with this, the latest offering, or my online program that I have been able to, yeah, release and reveal now, is that it's the 3-month programs that I ran last year. I have been able to, like, I had daily prompts that I would put in for the entire 3 months. So I was able to compile them into documents, pop
Mm.
them into the documents, into Sassy, and so then I have been able, so it is every single detail of every single day of those 2 previous programs, and then putting my own guidance and support of what it is that I want to add to this. And it is just like, it is everything that I have wanted to create and more, like,
Yeah.
because it's in complete alignment with my human design. So it's like, it's me feeding back to me, but with
Mm.
every little detail, without taking, it is, so yeah, it is beyond anything that I could have even dreamed of. And it is just so, yeah, so aligned, so beautiful, so, yeah, perfect for what it's meant to be.
Mm. And what I really love as well is the speed of things on, like pivoting or adjusting or
Mm,
um, nuancing something else in as it sort of drops in. That becomes so easy now. Things that would have taken me
mm,
such a long time back in the days, and even just, saying, hey, just feed back to me or mirror back to me. What does that feel like? Is there anything missing?
mm.
Have I overcomplicated it? Make it simpler. I really want to get X, Y, and Z across. It's really like having your higher self as a super coach
Oh my God,
available
exactly.
24/7.
Exactly. And even just, yeah, like, as an example of what's something that was really supportive for me, having this, like, this outline, or this, structure that it was there, that was just completely, like you said, it was like every cell in my body just resonated with, like, these are my
Mm.
words, like my higher self just telling me even more of what I wanted to support women with. I was able to then go, okay, well, this launch process, how am I now launching this program to start October 1st in alignment with my cycle that starts on, X date, and within all the flow and the different sites, stage of the cycle? What is my optimal launch process, and what are the stages that is going to be most in alignment? So to take that pressure off myself, which I have, as we know, with all my previous masculine energy of proving, rather than stepping into, right, I've got to launch this program, I've got to force, get it out there, get it out there. It's like, no, no,
Mm.
I'm in the luteal stage now. I need to rest and nurture, and I can just do a little couple of pre-recordings here to launch, to then post on this date. Like, so the alignment that it gives you with the guidance that you need without even knowing that you need it, like,
Yeah.
how can you possibly, you can't create that, even if you tried, like, it's all there from your higher self, like you said, like, just being within such a simple and, like I said, fast-paced way of just putting in the prompts, and there it is. It's just, yeah, phenomenal.
Where do you see your business go in the next 12, 24, 36 months? If you had a crystal ball, what does the crystal ball look like right
Mm.
now?
Okay. There are some clear, the retreats are just a constant now. We're just, like and I think a lot of that is just word of mouth. There is really clear, I don't know what they are yet, but there are really clear and specific details in development of what that is going to look like for the retreat space or just whatever that might be on the property. And the expansion of what there's just a beautiful organic growth and expansion of the business that is just continuing in a really, I guess, wholesome way. Like it's not,
Mm.
it's not going to be, it's just a beautiful, wholesome, organic growth, I think. And it's connecting with exactly who needs to be supported in the moments that they do. And it's just this beautiful, supportive business of organic authenticity. I think that's what's coming.
Yeah. Do you already have people flying in for your retreats?
We've had a few people in from Queensland. I've got the next November retreat. I've got some women coming in from New South Wales.
Beautiful.
So
Yeah, I
it's
can see how
really
that's gonna expand, that's for sure. Yeah.
and I think it just comes. I think what I love is it is just an organic expansion process. It comes from the experience. It's almost like even with the couples day that we've run, and we've got another one in October. It's like it's almost hard to describe what it is, and it comes from the experience. So it comes from shared experience, and people
Mm,
share that, and it then that's that ripple effect, and that's the organic growth. I think that
mm.
that has been so far, but there's no reason why that can't change.
So from a business point of view, with those lovely women that you have attracted from New South Wales and from Queensland, any particular way that they have discovered you?
um Again, friends of friends or family, cousins, of women that were already clients of mine, and doing the previous online program that I ran. Um, so and again, it was just one of those things that, I think one of them sort of said, "Oh, I don't even know what this is, but I
The
just told I
trust.
needed to do it." Yeah, that trust, that trusting their intuition. They're just,
Mhm.
they're listening to that inner compass and going, I don't even know what this is, but I'm here and I'm doing it. And then
Yeah.
the beauty of coming in so open-minded and with that beautiful open heart, they're only going to receive exactly what they need to receive anyway, aren't they? So it's a
Mm.
really beautiful
Because
process.
obviously, as a business owner who still has ambitions to grow the business, it's always so interesting to try and find out, well, where do you have that natural magnetism, and
Mm,
where are you potentially, trying to again push for visibility, push for sales,
yeah.
because so many of us in the mastermind, we have this love, not so love relationship with social media. And everyone always says, you need to be on social media, you need to be there 2 to 3 times a week, you need to do this, you need to do that. And many of us are like, cringing just
Mm,
by the thought of it. But obviously, if you have the ability to draw on these existing relationships that you have,
mm,
and just say to people, if you can think of anyone who could benefit from our work, would you mind referring us further?
yeah, the
If
referral
that's your
process.
way to do marketing in a
Mm,
way that it actually feels really good from your heart, then why wouldn't you
yeah,
use that as your main source of
yeah.
business flow?
Yeah, because again, it's sharing that lived experience that they have, they can tell you what you're going to what they received out of it, and then how
Yeah.
it's going to be beneficial or what the experience might be for them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, lastly, because I know we could talk until the cows come home. Um, was this your first year in a mastermind?
Pardon?
Is this your first year in a
Yes.
mastermind, or you have
Yeah.
not done a mastermind before? So
No.
obviously neither have I. So we've kind of created this mastermind. I didn't even do a lot of research into, the whole concept of mastermind. So I'm really just following my intuition and my guidance on
Mm,
what the nurturing and the care and everything that's needed within our beautiful group, to grow our
mm,
businesses. But If somebody thinks about investing in themselves and investing in their business and their own personal growth, talk to us a little bit about, what have you been able to achieve by
Mm.
investing in you?
In relation to this mastermind journey specifically, or
Even just any other personal development that you have done before this point.
mm,
Like, there must have been
yeah.
particular milestones where you say, that's really helped me with that. That's really helped me with
Mm.
that.
Yeah. 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 No, I think even yeah, there's yeah, obviously the studies that we did earlier on in our journey together, Wes and I, the hypnotherapy, NLP, the what that gave to us in our own clarity and sense of self, like that was literally priceless. Like we couldn't have had that experience. I would I can't even remember off the top of my head how much that was, but it's actually irrelevant. I would have paid whatever was necessary to have that experience in my life. The human design, again, like just yourself and another beautiful friend in on the Eyre Peninsula. Having that human design understanding information again is priceless. I think like those are the tools that help navigate life in the way that is just so in alignment. Like it's like, to think about that woman who would call in sick and I never had sick days because I was so busy proving my worth to life and everyone around me. But I would call in sick because I was too scared to talk at a school staff meeting, to now being living in such deep alignment that I can show up for a retreat or come to a beautiful mastermind, women's business meeting where it's just like those days fill my soul and light me up in a way that's just like, this is my soul journey. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And right now in this moment, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, and far out, it feels good, like those. So yeah, being a part of the mastermind this year has just every single day. And I think I said this last meeting. I'm like, every single day, every time I'm here, it's like it's the best one yet. But this one's been the best one yet. Like every single week, every month that we get together, it's like the inspiration, the energy, working in alignment with other beautiful, inspiring, like-minded entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, beautiful women that are just passionate about what they do, and the energetics that creates in the room, and then knowing that we're all working in alignment with our human design and the compassion, the understanding, the passion that we have for what we do, and supporting each other. There's just something so beautiful about that again, it's priceless. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I've answered the question exactly, but it's yeah, those are the things that I think you can't even put a price on feeling the way you do about yourself when you truly find that inner essence, or
Mm.
when you find that direction that you wow, I'm on the right path and this
Yeah.
feels good.
Yeah. Because I know that a lot of women, we always say, well, who am I to invest in myself? And
Yeah.
I certainly know that was the case for, the greater parts of 38 years of my life. And then once I uncovered personal development, now my P&L around personal development is my greatest expense in my business. But I truly
Yes.
love it. It just
Yeah.
lights me up so, so much. And it
Yeah.
has become a core part of my DNA now moving forward. So I could not
Yeah.
imagine a life without personal development anymore and without investing in myself. But I know that first time when I, signed up to a retreat, or the first time when I've invested the first
Mm.
$3,000 into
Yeah.
online coaching or whatever it
Yeah.
was. Those were the moments where I was like, holy shit, I've never spent so much money on me before.
Yeah.
I hope this is going
Yeah.
to work out. I hope this better does something for me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, that makes so much sense. And again, I vividly remember one of the first courses I ever paid for. And again, it was that same, like, holy shit, it was like $1,800 or something, I think. And I was like, how am I going to pay for this? Like, I remember that was right at the start, 6 years ago, and I was on a single income, all those types of things. And then that very day, I got my tax return and it was $1,800. And it was just one of those signs, it was literally just one of those moments. It
Wow.
was was so beautiful. But from that day on, it was just, there was just no question. Well, actually, knowing and again, it came back to that innate trust and that intuition of, even for with that email that I received from you in the invitation for the mastermind, I remember saying to Wes, Alice has sent me this invitation and I don't really know what it is, but I'm in. And I think I messaged you. I said, I don't know what this is, but I'm in. It was just a full body yes from me. Like it was just knowing that it had human design, it had women in business. It was a full body yes from me. And so, and I guess this is part of what I love now is like trusting, like even just, I think I mentioned that to you just before we started, like having women that trust in the process and just knowing I don't really know what I'm going to get out of this program, but it's a full yes from me, and trusting, like listening to their body, listening to those little signs and signals. And perhaps that's something that feels foreign to them because they've never ever considered making a decision for them before. They've always made a decision for their partner, their father, their boss, their work colleague, their kids. They've never actually made a decision for them. So just giving women the opportunity, and this is what I love so much now, is from my own experience. I know, I understand. I've been there. I'm, journeying through this now. And like I think I mentioned earlier, the, strengthening that trust muscle of intuition. It's like just every time you make that decision that's in full alignment, it's like, oh, yeah, that feels good. This is a full body yes. And only good can come from this. It's beautiful.
All right. So if women or if couples would like to invest in themselves and join you or Wes at one of their upcoming retreats, what have you got left for the rest of the year?
I have a women's retreat in November 14th, I think it is. I think there's like 2 spots left there. We have a couples day retreat, which is just, so beautiful. The men seem to be the ones that need a little coaxing in coming along to those. But at the moment, like the last one, we've had 2 now, and you cannot not receive just beautiful gifts of connection, of understanding, of communication, of all the things. So that's in October 26th, I think it's a Sunday. So a couples day in October, women's retreat in November. Wes will have another men's retreat locking dates to be confirmed. And then I have my beautiful 6-month online experience for women that is just going to be, like, I've already dabbled a little bit in what it's going to hold, but just that beautiful daily accountability, like nervous system support, cyclic awareness, having expert guests come in and just share little tips and tricks on daily rituals and how to support yourself in living that life that's best for you. It just makes me so excited to share, just the little things that have made a difference. The self-awareness, like how can you create that self-awareness within how you're feeling each and every moment, and how can you then shift and adjust that to make it feel even better? Self-compassion, self-acceptance, self-love, like just this beautiful organic flow with the nurturing accountability that, like I think I've said right from the start, like it's no one can take these gifts and I can't make you do anything other, it's about you taking those gifts and doing what you want to do with them. I just feel so grateful that I get to share these gifts with the women that are just ready to take them and make those small and subtle changes that create the huge long lasting change. So
have you got a downpour happening at the moment?
I have. Can you hear it? I'm so sorry. I thought I've got a microphone here, and I thought it was going
that's
to.
All good. Yeah, I was like, that sounds like a solid.
Must be the universe telling us. Must be the universe telling us that we've chatted for.
We've exceeded the time. Exactly. We've exceeded. I know that we're going to finish off on this. I know that I've already mentioned to you that I would love exploring moving forward soulmate relationships and getting into that bliss state. And then how do you not sabotage getting staying in the bliss state for longer, because again, it's just this shift of awareness and nervous system regulation when you have
Yes.
been in a state of doing and hustling and business owner. And even though, I've activated my feminine, but I think there is
Mm,
still the brain where it's like, well, this is unfamiliar. I need to shift out of
mm.
that again, because there's
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
weird happening over here that we don't really know what this is.
Yes, and it feels safer in the familiar than what it does, and even if that familiar is destructive or not helpful, that it feels safer in that familiar than what it does in what's best for us.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I can't wait to have a chat to you both and see what support there might be and what that might look like as a journey for
Yes.
Stephen and myself to venture into once we're back from our honeymoon. And so thank you so much for jumping on board today.
You're
Any
so
final
welcome.
words, any final wisdom that you would like to leave with our listeners for today?
Um, I guess what comes to mind, just getting curious, I think, getting curious about what what is it that's happening for you that could create a life that's best for you? Getting curious about what it is within your relationship that could create something even better. So getting curious with what's happening, um, how are you holding yourself accountable? How are you perhaps not holding yourself accountable? Yeah, just perhaps leaning into that curiosity of self and each other, perhaps.
Beautiful. And any wisdom for me as I'm entering this next part in my life?
Um, yes, getting playful with all things, taking the pressure off, just letting yourself enjoy all the things.
Thank you. With
Oh,
lots of
thank
Aperol
you.
spritzers, that's for sure. Well, thanks again for joining us. We'll put into the show notes how to connect with you and Wes, and a couple of the dates
Yes,
of the upcoming retreats and experiences that you have. And who knows,
amazing.
maybe we're going to meet one day on one of your beautiful retreats, and hopefully also on your property.
So good. Thank you so much, Alice. So lovely to chat.
Much appreciated. Thank you.